Dre, I want to get your reaction to my suggestion that they should be begging Tucker Carlson or Steve Bannon or someone in that lane to be the CEO of TPUSA.
Well, in the angle of those people's skills, let's say Tucker and Steve Bannon, I say yes, it's a good idea in theory. The challenge is Steve Bannon is probably, how old is Steve Bannon? Maybe twice the age of Charlie Kirk when he passed.
60. Yeah.
Yeah, something around there. Charlie Kirk was in his early 30s. So
Yeah.
the whole thing about Turning Point, at least from what I knew it from the outside looking in, it's about pulling in the younger people to be conservatives. Well, how are you going to get a 60-year-old to relate to those people? That's the first thing I'm wondering with Steve Bannon. That's the
Let me
challenge.
stop you
And when
there.
it
Let me
comes,
stop you there. Because
okay,
Tucker's probably 56, 57 as
right.
well. But this is the issue you have when it comes to taking one of these jobs you might die in, or might be killed in. It's probably
Mm.
going to have to be an older person who isn't like thinking like, man, I'm 32 and I may die, and I got young kids, or I ain't even been married yet, or whatever. It's gonna have to be someone older and wiser, and someone that uh, has a close enough. And I'm not saying either of these guys are, because I don't know how far along they are on their spiritual walk, but I do think they're really courageous. Steve Bannon went to prison standing 10 toes down, and Tucker Carlson's out here risking his life every day because I know they'd love to kill him. Uh, but I actually think you could get an older person in the CEO chair and get a younger person in the public facing, go to campus, be the face of this. They had a CEO who was the face of it. They need to probably reverse that and have a spokesman. Needs to be an Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X situation. If you know anything about that, that's what they need.
That makes more sense. Now, I was thinking about it more somebody being what Charlie was, but
Yeah.
from that perspective, that makes more sense. Have Steve Bannon or Tucker Carlson running things from the home office, and then get some younger faces out there, fresh faces that can go do those college campuses. I think it can work. The challenge is with the current people that they have there at Turning Point USA. Is somebody going to tell Erica? Is somebody going to look at her face and say, no, we're not going to do it this way, even though it was your husband? I think she would have to be completely out of the picture. And those other men who have been in there basically carrying water for Erica and what they claim to be Charlie for the last 90 days, what do they do to save face from what they've been doing for the last 90 days? I think they've all backed themselves into a corner, similar to what Virgil said. So what do they do now? If you bring in Tucker or Steve Bannon, they had to clean house at Turning Point USA. Now, what becomes of the organization, their donors, and their fans?
Virgil, is there any, with this CEO of TPUSA, is that a proper role for a religious leader? Is there anybody from the faith community that could be the CEO of TPUSA?
Yeah, I hesitate to put anybody's name in the mix that that I know because they'd be, oh, thanks, Verge. You put my name in the mix of that now. I got to deal with all the crazy chaos. There are some men that I could think of. I'll add this to the mix, Jason, and that is I agree with you, someone older. And the reason for that is there are a lot of young people running around at TPUSA, a lot of young people. And again, that's not an indictment on them. Great for them that they're young, but there is something that comes with age, with experience, and from a standpoint of wisdom, or at least you hope that's the case, that would allow them to figure out how to navigate some of these issues. I'm sure they've got fantastic leadership and people around them on the board that can provide insight and instruction. I don't know how much of that has gone on with regard to this current PR campaign, where Erica's out at different places and spaces having conversations with, with different thought leaders. But I think it's important for someone to come in and right set the ship, level set, and really kind of take a whole new look, a whole new approach at how they go about messaging, how they're thinking about issues. I think the biggest issue with Tucker, as you mentioned, is he there are those who believe he's anti-Israel. And so that's going to be the biggest challenge for a guy like Tucker, with regard to the folks who are providing money and resources. But again, goes back to all the things that Candace was saying about Jewish donors and what they're willing to do and not do and all of that. Someone there is going to have some real conversations about what this organization is going to be moving forward, and what they're going to represent. And the decisions that they're going to make coming out of this meeting are critical to their future.
I just thought of it, man. I just thought of this in real time. Wow, this is another. Virgil, get ready to respond to this one. But
Okay.
let's say, because when people say Tucker's anti-Israel, what most people, or what I think and others think, is Tucker is pro-America, and that's what the base is longing for. Someone that represents the America First agenda. You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's a woman, but so not her. But let me throw another, and this is maybe, wow, Matt Walsh. If you want someone to play the role that Charlie Kirk did, Matt Walsh.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I just watched his interview with Tucker and thought that was a solid interview. That's a great name. I'm glad you said it and I didn't. So
Dre, what do you think about that name?
I think Matt is he has an interesting personality. He has the skill to do the debate thing. He's just so different from Charlie Kirk. I don't know how he does and how he would mesh. You mean as a CEO or as the face?
Both. I mean, again, if we wanted to go with your model of doing the same thing as Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh could do it. Matt Walsh has here's another thing I didn't even think about. Matt Walsh has a pretty solid relationship with Candace Owens. You know,
Yeah.
I could see Candace potentially suggesting Matt Walsh.
I think he has the debate skills. The thing is, he doesn't have quite the same touch as Charlie Kirk. Matt Walsh tends to, when he debates with people, he tends to make people feel stupid, or at least it looks like they feel stupid when they're talking to Matt Walsh. He has
I think
this.
We need more of that, but go ahead.
Yeah, I get it. If you like Matt Walsh, if you like Matt Walsh, it's funny. But if you don't like Matt Walsh, you come away feeling like you got trampled on. Whereas if you debated with Charlie and he beat you, you didn't quite feel that way. He had a different affect. So Matt Walsh would be a stronger.
Dre, I would argue that was the case with Charlie as well at first. I remember watching those early days when Charlie and Candace were on campuses, and they were very confrontational, going back and forth with people in ways that were incredibly antagonistic. I do believe over the course of some time, as the years progressed, Charlie got sharper and sharper and sharper at the very thing that you're identifying. But early on, they were pretty cantankerous on those on those college campuses.
Shamika, what do you
Okay.
think of Matt Walsh?
I don't know how I feel about Matt Walsh. I like him, but I do see the pushback that he gets, and I don't think he could actually replace Charlie. I don't think anyone can. I feel like what Turning Point USA needs to do on a whole is fast and pray. They need to turn their face to the wall and pray, because I feel like Charlie, when Turning Point started, his intentions were pure. He was good. I think it got bigger than he ever dreamed it would, and I feel like people wanted to get him out of that position. I know that's conspiracy theory, but that's what I truly feel. I feel like it just got out of control, out of hand, and I think that there are a lot of people there whose main focus is money and not necessarily actually the heart of Charlie, what he was trying to accomplish. And I think it's so far gone, I can't see it turning around without some serious prayer and redirection.